Hello everyone, welcome to Bothakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. I'm your friend Atreyi and today I'm here with another segment of Current Affairs 365 dated 12th of November 2021. This is your one-stop solution for any news and updates which will help you prepare for your civil services examination, and along with that it is also going to be beneficial for any other Assam state government services. So don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Facebook as well as Instagram for any further details related to job notifications. The first news of today is related to the Nutrition Smart Village initiative, which is undertaken in order to strengthen the Poshan Abhiyan. This initiative is going to be a part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which is a celebration to commemorate the 75th year of independence of our country. This initiative is also in line with Pradhan Mantri's call to adopt and transform 75 villages, and here that because of that a total number of 75 villages are going to be adapted by the All India Coordinated Research Project Centers and the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Central Institute for Women in Agriculture. The major objective of this initiative is to promote nutritional awareness, education, along with behavioral change in the rural areas which are involving women and school children. And next, they also aim to harness traditional knowledge through the local recipe in order to overcome malnutrition. As per the Women and Children Development Ministry, more than 9.2 lakh children in India were severely acute malnourished till November 2020. According to World Health Organization, it defines severe acute malnutrition by very low weight for height or a mid-upper arm circumference less than 115 millimeter, or by the presence of nutritional oedema. Then the last objective of this initiative is to implement nutrition sensitive agriculture through homestead agriculture and Poshan Vatikas or Nutri Gardens. Poshan Abhiyan, which is also known as the National Nutrition Mission, it was launched on the occasion of International Women's Day on 8th of March 2018. This initiative targets to reduce stunting, undernutrition and anemia, and also reduce the lower birth weight by 2%, 3% and 2% per annum respectively. It also targets to bring down stunting among children in the age group of 0 to 6 years from 38.4% to around 25% by the year 2022. The second phase of Poshan Abhiyan was also launched recently by the Ministry for Women and Child Development, and this initiative in the second phase, all the aspirational districts were urged to establish a nutrition garden during the Poshan month, which started from 1st of September 2021. Despite of decades of investment in order to tackle the issue of malnutrition, India's child malnutrition rates are still one of the most alarming in the world, and because of that, India's position in the Global Hunger Index is 101st among the 116 total countries which were considered. This issue is mainly responsible for 15% of India's total disease burden, and along with that, studies also reveal that India loses up to 4% of its GDP and up to 8% of its productivity, mainly due to child malnutrition. Coming to other related government initiatives in order to tackle malnutrition of our country, it includes Anemia Mukt Bharat Abhiyan, Pradhan Mantri Poshan Shakti Nirman PM Poshan, the National Food Security Act of 2013, and the Integrated Child Development Scheme. Moving ahead to the next news, which is related to the amendment of Mineral Conservation and Development Rules of 2021. The Ministry of Mines have notified that they are going to amend the Mineral Conservation and Development Rules of 2017. This particular set of rules were framed under the Section 18 of Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act of 1957. They provide rules regarding conservation of minerals, systematic and scientific ways of mining, and also towards development of the mineral resources of our country along with protection of the environment. The key points which were highlighted in the amended set of rules includes compulsory drone survey, which was introduced. The rules, they prescribe that all plans and sections related to mine, they shall be prepared by combination of DGPS, that is Digital Global Positioning System, or total station, or by drone survey in relation to all the leases as may be specified by the Indian Bureau of Mines. And along with that, they also emphasized on submission of digital images. New rules were inserted to provide for submission of digital images of mining areas by leases and letter of intent holders. This step will not only improve the mining planning practices and security and safety, but along with that, it is also going to ensure better supervision of the mining operations altogether. They also plan to reduce compliance burden, and provision of daily return omitted to reduce compliance burden was included. The power of taking action against incomplete or wrong information in monthly or annual return will be given by the IBM in addition to the state government. Then penalty provisions are included. In the amendment rules, they have categorized the violations of rules under the following heads, which includes major violence, that is which will lead to penalty of imprisonment, fine, or both. Then minor violations, here penalty will be reduced and penalty of only fine or such violations are prescribed. And along with that, it can also go for decriminalization of rules for violation of other rules that has been decriminalized, and these rules, it did not cast any significant obligation on the concession holder or any other person. So this was all about the new penalty provisions, revised penalty provisions. Next, the amendment rules also included financial assurance and increase in employment opportunity. The allowed engagement of a part-time mining engineer or geologist for small mines, it will not just ease the compliance burden for small miners, but will also increase the employment opportunities. And along with that, several other provisions were also included in the qualification for becoming a full-time mining engineer. Along with that, qualification for part-time mining engineers were also added in this new amended set of rules. The next news is related to locust infestations and climate change. Infestation of desert locusts, which has plagued a vast area from eastern Africa to India in recent years, has been closely linked to climate change. And the Global Landscapes Forum Climate Hybrid Conference, it proposed different plans to mitigate the climate changes, and it must include action against pests and diseases. This conference was recently held alongside the 26th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The Global Landscapes Forum is the world's largest knowledge platform on integrated land use, which is dedicated towards achieving sustainable development goals and the Paris Climate Agreement. This forum is led by the Center for International Forestry Research in collaboration with its co-founders, the United Nations Environment Programme and the World Bank. Now coming to locust attack, the desert locust, it is a short-horned grasshopper. They are harmless when they are when they are alone, okay? But locusts, they undergo a behavioral change when their population builds up rapidly. They can enter the gregarious phase by forming huge swarms which can travel at a speed as high as 150 km per day and can eat up every bit of greenery which comes along their way. The locust's infestation can also harm livelihoods and be a threat to regional investments when it comes to food security. As per the World Bank, in East Africa and Yemen alone, damages and losses of 2020 due to locusts infestation, it can amount to as high as $8.5 billion. The major affected areas includes countries like India, Pakistan and Iran. Along with that, change in cyclonic patterns over the Arabian Sea is also responsible, and there are some other climatic changes which have occurred in recent times, like unusual rainfall in Iran. It has helped in breeding of these locusts, and they are known to be passive flyers which generally follow the direction of wind. Their movement has been further aided by westerly winds, which were strengthened by the low pressure area that was created by the cyclone Amphan in 2019 in the Bay of Bengal. Along with that, it is also important to note that pesticide is not going to be a proper solution for this problem, as it is said that heavy use of broad spectrum pesticides It might slow down the desert locust invasion, but it can also have a significant external costs on the environment and along with that on human health. They are a threat to pollinators and wildlife. And the broad spectrum pesticide, it is a powerful pesticide which targets an entire group of or species of organisms that are commonly harmful to plants. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization also, by March 2021, there was around 1.8 million liters of pesticides that was used in order to control locusts only in the East African region. And this may also increase by over 2 million liters by the end of 2021. Moreover, organophosphate pesticides like malathion, for instance, these are highly toxic to humans as well as animals. In order to get a permanent solution or in order to solve this problem, we may go for some early warning systems like satellite and weather data along with field observations. They can be used for building powerful predictive models on breeding sites. And then we can also go for some accounting, different types of bookkeeping accounting like true cost accounting. It is a new type of bookkeeping which does not just look at the usual financial values within a company, but it also calculates the impacts on natural and social capital. We can go for development of efficient governance models governing the locust crisis. They can provide useful lessons on agri-food system, and also there is a need to raise awareness amongst the farmers and other local communities to involve them in decision making. The next news is about Destination Northeast India, which is an initiative that is under the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region and Northeastern Council. It celebrates the rich heritage of Northeast India, and a 7-day cultural festival of the northeastern part was formed a part of the celebration of 75 years of independence under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav program. It concluded at the National Museum, Delhi. The main aim of this program was to bring the rest of India closer to northeastern states. It holds a special presentation of art and crafts, textiles, ethnic products, tourism promotion, etc. of the 8 northeastern states. Now, the organizations which are involved includes the Ministry of Development of Northeast Region, the Northeastern Council, which is a nodal agency for economic and social development of the region, and it consists of all the 8 states. This council was constituted in 1971 by an act of parliament. Along with that, the National Museum is also included, and at present, the National Museum is under the administrative control of the Ministry of Culture. With ASEAN engagement becoming a central pillar of India's foreign policy direction, northeastern part, they play a significant role as the physical bridge between India and Southeast Asia. Along with that, India's Act East policy also places the northeastern states on the territorial frontier of India's eastward engagement. The northeastern region has immense natural resources, accounting for around 34% of the country's water resources and almost 40% of India's hydropower potential. Sikkim is India's first organic state, and the northeastern part of our country has also got immense tourism potential as it is home to many wildlife sanctuaries like Kaziranga National Park, Manas National Park, Nameri Orang of Assam, Namdapha in Arunachal Pradesh, Balpakram in Meghalaya, Kebul Lamjau in Manipur, etc. It also is a place of cultural significance as the tribes in this region have their own culture. Popular festivals like Hornbill of Nagaland, then Pang Labsol of Sikkim are famous nationally. There are various government initiatives in order to uplift the northeastern region. It includes Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region. A department for the development of Northeastern region was established in 2001 and it was elevated to a full ministry in 2004. There are also many infrastructure related initiatives. For example, under Bharatmala Pariyojana, road stretches aggregating to around 5,301 km have been approved for improvement in this area. And along with that, the Northeast has been kept as a priority area under the UDAN scheme to make flying more affordable. Then we have many connectivity projects like the Kaladan Multimodal Transit Project of Myanmar and the Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar BCIM corridor. It can also be used for promoting tourism. Under the Swachh Darshan scheme, the Ministry of Tourism projects around 1400 crore rupees, and it has been sanctioned for the northeastern region alone for the last 5 years. Then we have Mission Purvodaya in the steel sector, which is aimed at driving accelerated development of eastern India through the establishment of an integrated steel hub. Likewise, there are many other schemes and initiatives which are included and which mainly are executed in order to uplift the northeastern region. We'll also have to make a mention of the Digital Northeast Vision 2022, which emphasizes leveraging digital technologies to transform lives of people of the Northeast and enhance the ease of living in this area.
And this was all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it will be helpful. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll see you all again tomorrow with another segment of Current Affairs 365 only on Borthakur's IAS Academy, Northeast's premier institute for UPSC, APSC and NPSC preparations. Till then, take good care of yourselves and keep learning. Bye-bye.
বৰঠাকুৰ IAS একাডেমি প্ৰস্তুতি আৰু অধ্যয়নৰ নিৰ্ভৰযোগ্য ঠিকনা। বৰঠাকুৰ IAS একাডেমি।